Hey everyone, Brandon here from Caesar's Freedomstead, and today I want to go ahead and show you growing your eggplants or other plants inside of your compost bin. So this is our compost bin. This is a really old compost bin. We threw everything inside of this compost bin, from table scraps to fruits and vegetables that were rotted to, when we processed our chickens. We run a freedomstead out here, a homestead, so we do process our own chickens and things like that. So parts of the chickens that we don't eat or we don't try to sell, we just throw it right here in our compost bin. And we take our rake and shovel, and we go ahead and just mix those things around, just make just nice mixture of nutrients and things like that that'll be broken down by worms and other bugs. So I wanted to show you this here. This is a little experiment because that's what we like to do out here on our freedomstead. We definitely read other people's material and watch other videos to learn from others, but we like to also do our own thing, do our own experiments, grow things our own way, just so we could learn firsthand ourselves. And that is one of the things that I think everybody should do. Definitely learn all you can, but do some experiments yourself as well, because the more that you do on your own, you'll have first-hand experience, and you'll be able to remember it and have that experience enough to make changes if you need to. So we went ahead and grew this eggplant inside of our compost bin here. Now look at it, it's doing amazing. It is doing great. It has blooms everywhere. It has lots of blooms coming. And we have a nice eggplant coming down here. I don't know if y'all could see that, but there's an eggplant coming right down there. Nice black one. And the bugs got to some of the leaves here, but that's, when you don't spray anything, we don't spray nothing or put anything down. We just kind of have everything just grow naturally out here. Because we definitely don't want our kids coming out here and trying to eat right off the plants, and then they're eating chemicals. And they do love to come out here and just eat. So, you'll naturally have that on the leaves, some bugs getting in there and such. But we grew this right out of our compost bin. And this is something that you could do at home, even if you don't have land. Have a little 4x4 or 2x2 and just throw your scraps in there and mix it once in a while until it's broken down. Get some worms. You can either order worms online. You could definitely order thousands of worms online. Or what we like to do also is we'll actually dig up some dirt in a nice moist area, and we'll put it inside of a bucket or a container, and we will find hundreds and hundreds of worms, and we'll throw them in our compost, and they'll break down everything to make some nice black gold dirt. And that's what we had inside of here. Everything is broken down, and we had this covered so it was nice and moist, and the worms did their job. They did an awesome job. And so we use a lot of this dirt in our potting that we do. We go ahead and we plant a lot of things in pots and containers, and so some of this is dug up all around because we use this dirt as well for planting, because we don't really feed our plants, those things from the store, the fertilizers or anything like that. The most we go with fertilizers is the dirt that our chickens fertilize themselves. So that as far as we go with any of those different things. I have tried the, add this to water type deal in the past, and they're pretty good. But we like to do things pretty much the natural way out here, and they're doing great. And so this is our eggplant growing right here out of our compost bin. And it is actually bigger than the eggplants that I grew in the straight sunlight. Now this eggplant right here, as you can see, it's in the sunlight right now. I am a big believer in growing them in the shade. And this eggplant here in our compost bin actually gets sun half the day and it gets shade half the day. And it's doing great. Because it's getting that half day of shade, they like to thrive in the shade. But they do need that sunlight. Like I said in my other video, growing eggplants in the shade versus sunlight, they do need some sun. But they do like to thrive in that shade. And so this gets half and half, and it's doing great because it has all the nutrients that it needs right here in the compost bin. Anything that it possibly needs is in here because we put everything possible. Now some things you don't want to put too much of. Grass clippings, when you cut your lawn, those are good to put in here, but you just don't want to put too much of that in here. But definitely, leftovers, scraps, all kinds of different things. Just throw them in your compost bin. Make sure you mix it once in a while, because it does heat up in there. You just want to kind of mix it up once in a while. I'll do a video on that, on what what I put in here versus, you know, how much of this, how much of that, and, you know, basically the turning schedule, mixing it around, moving it around, so type deal. We'll do that on another video, but we grew this out of our compost, doing great. We grew some other things in here too, like basil. Our basil's doing amazing. I'll show you that on another video because this was just on the eggplant. So get your compost, just go right out of your compost bin. We plan on planting about 10 more compost bins. So I'm just using this one right now to grow some things out of, to see how, you know, if our compost really is usable, if it's really good. It's doing great in the containers, but as any of you know that's been gardening, planting things for a long time, sometimes there's a big difference between planting in the ground, even if it's compost on the ground, than in a container in a controlled environment. So I wanted to see how it would go. This is our experiment, and it's doing great. So go ahead and try that at home. Like I said, we do have a big eggplant coming on this one on the bottom, and a bunch more blooms. And I have gotten the question actually, you know, my eggplants, they're not producing, or my tomatoes aren't producing, or whatever. All kinds of different things. I get the questions, these aren't producing, what's going on? The blooms just fall off. The vast majority of the time, the problem is that you don't have pollinators. Because if you don't have bees and pollinators around, a lot of plants just aren't going to produce very well, if anything. So if you haven't already, please check out the video about attracting bees into your garden using flowers. We plant flowers all over the property to attract all the pollinators, and it's been working out great. So that's what we rely on here for this plant and for all of our others, and we never had a problem. So definitely plant flowers all around your property. Go ahead and try growing your eggplants, all your different fruits and vegetables out of your composting bin or a composting container, whatever you use, and it works awesome. Healthy, growing lots, big eggplant on the bottom, and it's very young. So this is just going to keep on growing from here on out. Thanks so much. Please leave some comments on the bottom. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to try to bring some more great content in the future. And if you have other ideas of planting eggplants, planting other plants inside of, you know, just like different things you've experimented with, go ahead and leave it in the comments and let me know about them. I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.